Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're looking at a completely new blueprint for healthcare. We're talking about shifting our entire focus from just reacting to an illness after the fact to proactively creating health. This is the Rajiv Gupta Integrated Healthcare Model, and it's a scientifically grounded framework that fundamentally rewrites how we approach patient care in the 21st century. Seriously, think about it. What if your healthcare didn't just sit around waiting for your body to break down before it offered help? Imagine a system that actively preserves your well-being right from day one. Modern medicine has achieved some absolutely incredible things, especially with acute emergencies. But with populations aging and chronic diseases skyrocketing, just repairing the damage, it's really no longer enough. We absolutely need to pivot to whole-person, function-preserving healthcare. And hey, this isn't just some fringe pie-in-the-sky idea. The data shows a massive demand for the shift. In fact, a staggering 92% of patients dealing with chronic diseases actively want their GP to talk to them about complementary and alternative options. People are practically begging for collaborative, whole-person care that's integrated directly into their conventional medical journey. So, here's our roadmap for today. First, the chronic disease challenge. Then, defining integrated healthcare. Next, AI and early intervention. Fourth, the mechanisms of healing. And finally, improving long-term patient outcomes. Let's kick things off with Section 1, the chronic disease challenge, and the limits of reactive healthcare. The contrast here is pretty eye-opening. Conventional medicine is, well, it's miraculous for acute trauma or surgical emergencies. If you're in a car crash, that's exactly what you want. But for complex chronic care, like metabolic disease, treating the body as these isolated, separate organ systems through episodic hospital visits, it just doesn't work as well. It often leads to persistent symptoms and polypharmacy, meaning patients get weighed down by a heavy, cumulative burden of multiple medications over time. Moving on to Section 2, defining integrated healthcare, getting the best of both paradigms. So if conventional care isn't enough on its own, what exactly is the fix? Well, the integrated medicine journey doesn't just throw out modern science. Actually, it relies on it. Conventional Western diagnostics remain the absolute bedrock of care. But we expand the toolkit. We fold in evidence-informed therapies like yoga, functional medicine, and targeted nutrition. It's really about creating a unified, multidisciplinary approach. Think of this like a highly coordinated triage pathway. Medical emergency? Boom, you are immediately routed to conventional Western medicine. But if you're dealing with a long-term chronic condition, you're guided toward foundational root cause and lifestyle support. It's all about grabbing the exact right tool for the job at the exact right time. That brings us to Section 3, AI and early intervention, which is really anticipatory medicine. Okay, so here's the million-dollar question. How do we actually catch these chronic issues before they turn into full-blown emergencies? The answer is AI and wearable tech. By using these devices, the system follows 4 distinct steps to constantly analyze your real-time physiological data. So rather than waiting a whole year for your next physical, this technology hunts for subtle early warning signs. We're talking a slight dip in physical activity, minor sleep disturbances, or a creeping resting heart rate. It can actually calculate your long-term disease trajectory years before a doctor ever gives you a formal diagnosis. And the absolute coolest part about all this, your DNA is not your fixed destiny. AI helps map out how your daily habits actively alter your biological path through a process called epigenetic regulation. Literally, 2 people with the exact same genetic risk can have wildly different health outcomes just based on how their nutrition, stress, and sleep interact with their genes. Catching those imbalances early means care teams can deploy perfectly tailored lifestyle tweaks. Now for Section 4, mechanisms of healing, the science of holistic care. Let's look under the hood at the biological science of how complementary therapies actually heal the body. The ultimate endgame of integrated medicine is organ function preservation. The whole point is to use these therapies to build up your physiological resilience. If you can control symptoms better naturally, you might just need fewer heavy medications. This dose-sparing effect is huge because it protects your vulnerable organs, like your liver and kidneys, from cumulative chemical toxicity, which is known in the medical world as iatrogenic harm. And the biological proof for this is honestly fascinating. Take therapeutic yoga, for instance. It physically lowers markers like C-reactive protein, cortisol, and inflammatory cytokines like IL-6, all while boosting cellular protection.
This actively dials down chronic, low-grade inflammation, which we know is a massive driver behind cardiovascular disease and metabolic dysfunction. The same goes for specific Ayurvedic interventions. For example, using something like curcumin alongside standard treatments for ulcerative colitis has real, measurable clinical evidence for reducing oxidative stress and inflammatory signaling. It's not magic, it's grounded biology. It's about safely blending the best of both worlds under strong clinical governance.
Okay, final section, Section 5, improving long-term patient outcomes. We've covered the science and the slick predictive tech, but why does integrating modern and complementary medicine matter so much? For you, the patient.
Well, when you finally combine conventional medicine with complementary care, the real-world results are phenomenal. Because the care is so holistic and customized, we see huge leaps in improved adherence and much better self-management. And thanks to earlier intervention, patients experience drastically reduced complications and enhanced physical resilience. It checks every single box: better quality of life, soaring patient satisfaction, and a massive potential reduction in overall healthcare utilization. A huge piece of this puzzle is simple patient empowerment. When the healthcare system treats you as a whole person and actually respects your preferences through shared decision-making, patient satisfaction naturally goes through the roof. When you're in the driver's seat as an active participant rather than just a passive recipient, you are way more likely to stick to your treatment plan and make those lasting lifestyle changes. Ultimately, integrated medicine completely reframes how we measure success. Quality of life isn't just a bonus, it becomes a primary clinical endpoint. Because, let's face it, improving your daily mobility, your emotional resilience, and your sleep isn't just about feeling good today. It actively prevents late-stage complications down the line, which means fewer trips to the hospital and a much lower financial burden on the healthcare system. So, I want to leave you with this. Are you ready for a system that cultivates lifelong health instead of just waiting around for an illness to strike? Think about how this integrated anticipatory model could totally rewrite your own health story. The science, the AI, the clinical frameworks, they are all here right now to take you from a passive patient to an empowered creator of your own lifelong well-being.